Good morning. I'm just going to go over assignment one for project management and some of the things that might help you get there and make a better assignment. I just made a list of how I would go through and tackle the assignment if you haven't started yet. Step one, all right, you're going to go to Teams and you're going to enter the country of choice, the one that you're interested in. So if you haven't done this, basically in your Teams, there's a little link here on the left-hand side. You should see all your classes. These are just the ones that I'm teaching. If I go into Fredericton Engineering Project Management class, click in here, it's the same for all classes, all right? You just might have a different logo here. You'll see posts, files, and assignment one. Under assignment one, you should see a whiteboard, right? And it'll look something like this, right? And you should see these little tags here that basically identify your name, and then the country of interest that you're gonna be doing. Something that I'll just say again, all right, Canada and the US can't be chosen as a country. And please choose a country, not a continent, right? So one single country. You can work by yourself, right, as one person, or you can do it in groups of two. Once a country's been selected, so once you see it on this list, you can't choose it again, right? So let's say the students have already put this in, I've gone over them, they look okay. So if you haven't done this, please do this first. All right, step two, create a new Word document. It's pretty simple. You just go File, New, all right, blank document. Once you have this up, all right, the next step I would do, going back to my list, all right, is I copy a new title page and then document, and then I create all the headers as well. All right, so I can go in the assignment document, it's up on Brightspace, you should have access, and you can just copy in. This is your title page, copy it in, and then make the new headers. All right, the headers are right up here, the very top. So introduction and environment, political, gender, communication, egalitarian, legal, summary, and references. All right, so I've gone ahead, proposal. Again, please change this obviously to the country that you're researching and add in your name. I have the titles in here. One thing, just make sure your format's okay. All right, so it'll go up in here, just make sure it's 12 size font, and then you can change the spacing to be either 1.15 or 1.5. Once you have this completed, all right, the next step is really the bulk of the work, which is beginning to collect information. All right, I've put in some websites here that will help you. If you're looking for these, on the bottom of my assignment one that I've provided for you as an example, you'll see that in my references, all right, these are some of the websites that I found really helpful for building this, and I would suggest using them as well. The ones that maybe not are going to be as useful as the Live and Learn and the Government of Canada. All right, the Government of Canada is going to be good for obviously Canada. You may also find government websites on your own host country that you're looking at. If you click on the link that I've created, all right, it goes to this Canadian communication style, right? So that's really one of the purposes of this assignment, looking at the culture and the communication styles. You're not going to be doing Canada, so let's figure out how to navigate this. If you go to the home page, all right, it brings us to this. What we're looking for here is your home country, all right? So you're looking for things or the country that you're interested in. You come up here to resources. Here you can go, it says cultural awareness resources. The first one here is country guides. So our most popular pages are country guides, offer free information on 80 plus countries, giving you a look at the language, people, culture, norms, etiquette tips for business people, and taboos to avoid for visitors. All right, so you can go into here in the country guides, and here you can access the different countries. So as I said before, hopefully you've picked kind of a, I'm saying a normal country, but maybe a country that you would go visit. There's an easy flight to get over, and you can go through some of these and click on them and figure out more about that country. Another website that's really helpful is from the World Bank, Doing Business Legacy. All right, this will be good for kind of your legal, potentially political and more of a business setting. So understanding more about the business of that host country. And so we'll take a look at that. So this is Doing Business. This is from the World Bank main page. So we're at the home page. Where I would suggest going, you can take a look through here. The spreadsheet that I have up on Brightspace is this guy, so you can download it if you want to, or just get it from the from this website. What we can do here is if we go into research, maybe it's methodology. Sorry. There we go. Sorry, methodology. So the methodology talks about within that spreadsheet, how did they come and get the data? There's some links here, okay? Starting a business, dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, and onwards. What you're looking for is you're this environmental firm. You're looking to go into a country, start work. So there's some of these PDFs that might be worthwhile reading. The ones I would suggest starting with really is enforcing contracts and really dealing with construction permits. All right, so you're gonna have to do some environmental work. Those are the two things that will protect your company. All right, so if you go in, what sort of permits do you need, and what sort of enforcement do you need to put these contracts? If we click on this, all right, what it does is it goes through, then it talks about how the spreadsheet ranks countries. So what are the steps that they did to put this together? It may seem like a lot of reading, but it's not. All right, you just have to kind of go through and figure out what are the things that you're going to be looking for within the spreadsheet that will help you answer some of the questions that I've asked. So this is a spreadsheet when you open it up. I do have a filter on, so that's one of the reasons why it doesn't look exactly like yours. Afghanistan should be the top one, but I left a filter on, so it's showing data in a ranking that I didn't click off, so I apologize. If you want to find something in this spreadsheet, because there's a lot of tabs here, you can see that if I scroll over, all right, there's a lot here. All the titles are across the top, and then when they have a new title, they've boxed it, so they've done a good job. If you've looked at Excel sheets before, this one's pretty good. One thing I would say to start with is your economy. Right, you can search in here of your country, and you can, the easiest way, like if I want to do Canada, all right, I can do Canada. And so what I can do is if I click this box, this select all box, now what this does is there's no country selected. And if I just do Canada, all right, it's only going to show me the Canadian data, okay, which is pretty useful. And I can look at some of these. Now, this is really helpful when you know what you're looking for from the slides. But when I opened the spreadsheet for the first time, I didn't really know, there's so many boxes here to understand. There's all these methodologies and that sort of thing. So I didn't really know all of the stuff. So if you're getting familiar with this, something that you can do is you go select all right? So you put all the countries in. You can kind of start to understand what some of this data means by just doing an assumption, thinking about the country, right? So here they have ease of doing business rank, right? So if I look at a country like Afghanistan, Afghanistan ranks like 173rd, right? Whereas a country like, say, Colombia ranks at 67, right? So Colombia would be considered like a first world nation, Afghanistan more of a second or third world nation. So the ease of doing business index, without really even reading the methodology, you can assume that the higher the number, right, means that it's likely that it's harder to do business with that company, right? So there's going to be issues, there's going to be political issues, and you can start to make assumptions that, gender equality, those sorts of things, the environment probably are not going to be as heavily favored. However, this is just a guess. But what I want you to understand here is that some of this methodology and some of these rankings, it may not be obvious at the beginning, but if you take a country that you kind of know a little bit about and compare it to the country that you're looking at, you can start to understand some of these rankings and how they work. So from the website, one of the criteria I suggest looking at, all right, is familiarizing yourself with, for enforcing contracts methodology, all right, and just understanding what this is all about. Enforcing contracts is going to be an important part when you're entering into a business within that country or even entering into the government. The harder it is to enforce a contract, likely means that it's going to be more difficult to do business with them. And so, again, if you're not familiar with Excel, what's really nice about this is they have these little tabs at the bottom, all right, and you can sort these by smallest to largest or largest to smallest. So this is a ranking system to show, say, the most heavily enforced contracts within countries. So countries that really enforce contracts, get them done, to the least, all right? And so if we look at this, it looks like Bangladesh, Timor-Leste is quite low. And then if we scroll down here to number 1, all right, we have Singapore, all right, Korea, Norway, so some of their obviously first world countries, high income, and then it ranks them high income, upper middle. So again, this is just another kind of metric, a number that you can use in your report to understand about that country. As I said in class, if you want to search through things, you're not really sure, you can hit the Control F button and you can search for words that you want to look for. They may not be exactly, like egalitarian might not be there, but you might be able to do like human rights, environmental, gender, those sorts of things within this, and you'll get a hit and you can start to see how your country ranks. So an important part of this assignment is your references, all right? Everything should be referenced. If you go through my sample, all right, in the summary, all right, so when I'm summarizing for my document, that's probably the only place where I don't need a summary, right? I'm summarizing my document here. So I'm giving you the insights of what I found in here. But almost every single sentence, you'll see them here, highlighted, has a reference, all right? Most of this information, almost all this information, I did not make up myself. I got it from a website or, the spreadsheet, and I put that information in here. So it's going to be really important to reference all your information. Referencing, right? I'll do a brief overview of here. To this point, you guys have already had 2 communications classes, so you should be it should be understood how you do your references. But if not, I'll go through the process right now, okay? So to do a reference, there's a couple ways to do it. What I would do is every time that you find a website, all right, so anytime that you find one of these and you find that it's useful, just right click it, copy it, right, and you can come in here and just paste it down in your references. All right, so now you have it. And so if you're taking information from there, you have it. And then if you say you're using it, this would be doing business. So this might be a political or maybe a legal that you're taking it from. You're writing, just make sure that at the end we insert a reference. And the way we do that is you come up here into references, all right? Right here, insert citation, okay? Mine's defaulted to APA and I've made that so it's APA for you guys. I just think it's an easier way to do it. You go insert citation, all right? I've already have these citations built, all all right, because I did them before, but let's do a new one. So first thing is type of source, all right, journal article, books. Most of you guys are going to be using websites. The only one that would be different would be an Excel sheet, which would be a document from a website, or let's see if there's a better one. Really, a document from a website would be the best. So that Excel sheet, again, we can reference that. It's just a document from a website. So if we go to website, all right, the author, all right, sometimes this is not obvious, but here's what I'll let you guys get away with for this, is if I'm doing this website, all right, really the author is the World Bank. And if you're not really sure, a lot of times you can scroll to the bottom of a website and you can find either a legal or the privacy notice, or we can just come here and we click on the World Bank. So the World Bank is the title here, but let's also just check, because I want to make sure here about legal. Yeah, so I'm comfortable with this one being, the World Bank Group. All right, it does say the World Bank, all rights reserved. I'm just making sure if there's not some other name that they call themselves, but I would say the World Bank makes a lot of sense. All right, so the World Bank, in this case, is the author. Sometimes you'll have an author within a website, right? So if you're picking a resource, a website, they may have an author that's written it. All right, the name of the web page. So I go back and, all right, I just control and I'm copying that in. That's really it that you need. And then I would put in the URL to make this thing work. All right, you can fill in name of website, year, month, day, but that will create the your source. All right, so now I have bank TWND. So now it's created a reference. So if I want to take information from there, all right, so let's look at something. All right, so if I was saying enforcing contracts, so if I go to the spreadsheet and say my country was the United Arab Emirates, all right, so it's ranked 9th. Okay, so I could come in here under, this is under legal. So if I came in here and said, the World Bank rated the United Arab Emirates as, oh, I've forgotten the number, 9th overall in the world for enforcing contracts. All right, so get rid of this bolded stuff, underline this, and then at the end, this is my reference. All right, I should actually say that's not actually grammatically correct. So let me just do something different here, because I'm going to edit citation. No, I'm going to delete this, because technically this is from the website. I need the document. So if I go insert citation, add new source, author, the World Bank. You can see it is tedious, but what's nice about Word is they save this stuff for you. So you eventually, once you get your references right, it becomes a lot easier. So I'll show you where to get it again. If you're here, we can go back to home. Actually, I didn't want to do that, did I? So I lost my spreadsheet. This is what I want, doing business home. Here we go. So historical data. So what I can do here is if I right click this, right, historical data with scores, if I right click that and I go copy link, all right, so it's going to copy the link and how it would open. I come back into here. I'm going to put it in the URL, and I'm also going to do just the name of the web page. Go OK. So here it didn't really like that. That's kind of a gross reference. And so what happened was that the name I put in here was the website. So I'm going to do that. It's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to manage my sources. Let me come back down here to so this is historical data set. Let's just see if I need to make it any more clear than that. So historical data, complete data set of scores. It doesn't really have a name other than that. You could go up to File, Save a Copy, and you could take that. This technically is the title of it. This is what it came through. So I just went up, File, Save a Copy. This is the data. I'm going to copy it over. So I'll delete that and I'll paste this in. Okay. So I'll see what that does. So insert citation. It's a little better, right? So it's not just a giant website of grossness, but this is the actual. So this would be the APA reference for this. Okay. Once you have, you've referenced everything. So you've gone through, you've created all these, you have them all. It's time to actually make your overall references. Okay. The way you do that, is we want to insert our bibliography. All right, so references. So mine are referencing all of them that I've done. So yours would hopefully, as you've been going through, you've kept track, and you can go up and remove them if you need to. This is from my previous document, so I have all of them. You can, if you want. What I do is I usually just go. I'm going to highlight all this, because one thing with references is they make it funny in terms of the text. You can come up here, you can go into, choose the same text that you have. So Calvary, that's what mine was, and I would go to 12. All text should be black, and spacing, right, 1.15, and there you go. Okay, so I've done my references. Everything, like I said, that I'd be writing is going to be referenced. If you have questions about references, you can ask me. But a lot of this stuff is on YouTube, if you have issues with APA format. So just to go through this again, I hope this was helpful. Again, this was the steps, I'll pull over here, that I would do going through and building out your information. Again, use the assignment one that I put up here as a reference. I'm not looking for a ton of information. You're giving this to a colleague, right? You're giving this to somebody within your own company. So they don't need to, they're not going to live there forever and ever. They just want to know, does this make sense? I'm going to go there and work there. What's my expectations about being in that country? So for Canada, it's about a page, a little over 2 pages. That's maximum, hopefully, that I can get from you guys. However, if you have to go over that, you feel like there are some things that I should learn about the country, you can add those. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for sticking in with me for this long.